morning, everyone. Good morning, and welcome back to Miracle Moments. We're really excited that you're here. We're going to jump right into it this morning. You might want a pen and a paper to be able to take notes. And of course, if you're here, we would love to see you on camera. This is a working Zoom, you guys. We're going to take you for the next 90 minutes or so. No, yeah, we know how today goes. We're going to take you for sure for the next 90 minutes through something that we believe is going to be very, very useful for your journey. So I'm going to get us started. So I'm really excited that you're here. And I, of course, am Crystal Green. If you don't know me, I think I know everyone on the screen right now. But if you're watching the recording and you don't know me, my name is Crystal Green. I'm a managing director here with Super Patch, and I'm joined by my beautiful co-host, our vice president, Carrie Hellems. And of course, we host these Miracle Moments sessions most Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Central for you to be able to jump on. It's usually about 90 minutes, and our focus is to empower you in building your business, expand your mindset, nurture you in your faith, and of course, overall, work us towards achieving success with the help of our miracle, our miracle workers community. It's a tongue twister, right, Carrie? Miracle workers, miracle moments. We provide miracles. It's just crazy what we do here. Carrie and I are so passionate about our mission here, though, because we believe that our collective potential to build our super patch businesses really ignites when we come together. So that's what we're doing. Okay. But in Miracle Moments, we strive to share not only just our leadership experiences and our, valuable skills and things, our talents that God has given us, but also we want insights from the brilliant minds among us. So all of you, okay? So we truly love sharing the stage, right? And so without with that, I want to say don't ever hesitate to step forward to share your stories and experiences because we rise together. Scripture mentions and reminds us iron sharpens iron. So if you guys have anything that you would like to offer, please reach out to Carrie or myself so that way we can get you scheduled to share. Next week, we have Omar who is going to share with us. He's going to touch base on mindset and some of the things he's utilizing to build his business. And so we're really excited for that. And we'd love to get more people on the schedule because you guys have so much to offer. It's not just about what Carrie and I know. We just come up with a lesson plan and we present it to you every Tuesday. But we would love if you'd share. I know many of you go out and you do vendor events and you go out and you do private meetings. Some of you are hosting webinars. Some of you are going out there and you're meeting privately with businesses. Some of you are demo queens and kings, right? Some of you are out there building your business all online. There's so many different ways we can build our super patch business. And so with that being said, we don't know everything. We might sound like we do sometimes, but we don't know everything. And so we want to hear from you. Okay. Carrie, do you have anything to touch on just that little intro part? Anything we need to fill in?
Well, I love that, my hand went up because I was about to sneeze, Crystal, in fact. And so you called on me at a weird time. I was like, oh, wait. Anyway, sneeze was averted. You guys, I want you to leave these Zooms feeling more than knowledgeable about how to build your business. And so I hope you get that when you come on here. This is everyday life stuff. We're fueled by God and we want to fuel you through our funnel. And so it's really cool because Crystal and I will sometimes touch on stuff that we're going to talk about. And we had a conversation last night, but for the most part, we hand it over to God and we're like, hey, what do you want? What do you want to come out of this? And that's both business, relational, physical. What I want to know right now, Crystal, before we move any further, we have to take care of ourselves. Part of doing that is patching up. Far too many times I've gotten on a phone call with someone flustered and bothered and annoyed, and I'm like, wait, stop. Do you have a patch on? Because I know me, and I know if I happen to forget or whatever happened, and I know this morning as I showered, fresh patches on now. I put them on. There's like 5. I just want to see your arms. I want to see your arms. I want to see your legs. I want to see where you're putting them. Where is it happening? You don't got to get undressed. We got to be the proof. Okay? We got to go out and live it. We got to feel it. We got to take care of ourselves. All you have yours on your chin, Cromwell. I knew that was a typo, but I had to call you out. cheek, maybe butt cheek. I don't know. I'm gonna see what she types and says. How do you spell chin?
Shin,
Oh,
like
shin.
my leg. How do you spell shin?
I think I spell it with the SH. Chin, shin. I don't know. Maybe someone that knows better than me. Your husband would make so much fun of you right now if he knew you misspelled shin being an athletic person. Okay. All right. I love it. So we've got to be patched up. If you start feeling irritated by whatever is going on your social media or your part of the world, look at the mirror and go, self, what am I missing? Right. And then just refocus. So, Crystal, thank you so much for always pouring in. I'm excited for what you have today. It's the last week of the month, and I know you got some great action steps. So, let's go.
We're going to dive into it. It's going to be fun. So first, we're going to start with an inspirational story from scripture. And this is going to resonate deeply with what our theme is today. It's the parable of the talents. So that's found in Matthew 25:14-30. And you can look up that verse a little later. I'm seeing a lot of head nods. So it seems like you guys know. So in this parable, Jesus tells us of a master who's going on a journey and he entrusts his property to his servants. He gives one servant 5 talents, another 2 talents, and a third servant 1 talent, each according to their own ability. Okay. When the master returns, he calls for his servants to report on what they've done with the talents he's entrusted that to them. The first servant, who received 5 talents, took initiative to work and worked diligently to invest them, doubling his investment to 10. The second servant, entrusted with 2 talents, also put the effort in and earned 2 more. Both were praised by their master for their intentional actions, and they were rewarded with a greater responsibility. However, the third servant, who received 1 talent, acted out of fear. He buried his talent into the ground, choosing inaction over effort. When the master returned, he confronted the servant and who explained his decision to play it safe. The master admonished him, stating that he could have at least deposited the money in the bank for interest. Because of his lack of action, the servant lost even the 1 talent that he had, which was taken away and given to the one who had 10. This parable powerfully demonstrates how intentional action can lead to fruitful outcomes, or conversely, how fear and inaction can hold us back. Each servant had different levels of ability and resources, but the key factor was their willingness to take action based on what they were given. So as we apply this lesson to like our super patch journey, we have to remember to be proactive with the talents and opportunities we have. Are we stepping forward to invite, present, and connect just as the first 2 servants did? Or are we maximizing our potential and taking the necessary steps to grow our business? Or are we, not or, right? Are we doing these things? Okay. So let that parable serve as a reminder that we act intentionally and with purpose. We open the door to abundant blessing and success. And our encouragement for you today is that, as we jump into our lesson, is for you to commit to sowing seeds of action and then trust that your efforts will yield into a fruitful harvest. Okay. So I was like, this feels like it's going to be on par with what we're talking about. And what we are talking about today is we're exploring intentional and intense action in our lives and how that aligns with our mission and our values, especially here as we grow our super patch businesses. So we're going to dive a little deeper into what intentional and intense action is. And this is going to be like our motto for like all of March too. Just keep that in mind as Carrie and I kind of talk about what we need to do and how our mindsets need to be. It's intentional and intense. And if you guys are busy and you've got other things going on, I mean, I see your lives, just glimpse of your lives, even while you're on Zoom with us here. And then, of course, we live vicariously through our social medias and what we do, and we have conversations. But the reality is we're all really busy. We're all out there getting things done. We have more on our plate than just our super patch business. And so when we work our super patch business, it not only needs to be intentional, but we have to be so intense with the time that we're given that we make sure we're doing the best that we can and the most that we can, excuse me. So intentional action. This goes far beyond merely just doing. It's about having purpose. Intentionality, infuses our action with meaning. When we set specific, measurable, and meaningful goals, we empower ourselves to take action. You're going to hear action a lot today. For instance, rather than saying, I want to invite more people, let's try to commit in a different way. I will invite 5 people this week to discover the super patch and its incredible benefits. Do you see how you tie in and you commit yourself a little bit more because you're intentional about what's going to happen, what you're doing? You're not just putting it out there into the, to the universe and hoping God will bless it by saying, I'm going to invite as many people as I can this week. How many people can you invite? That's the question, right? So we have to be intentional about what we're doing. And by defining, what a clear objective, like that clear objective of what we want to do, we pave that way for accountability and focus. Okay. Everyone following along good? We're good? Okay. All right. Intense action. So here I want you to kind of imagine a little bit. Imagine a sprinter poised at the starting blocks. Someone that's focused, committed, and ready to unleash their full potential. This is the essence of intense action in our businesses. It's about showing up consistently. My go-to word. Lori pointed that out to me over the week. My go-to word is consistent. Be consistent. Okay. So it's about showing up consistently, even when challenges arise. So reflecting on, my early days of building my network, I remember there's times where I felt so discouraged. I didn't wake up one day and just have like 200,000 followers on Facebook, right? Or 20,000 on TikTok, or, have built different businesses and started became a leader, all the things. Like, I didn't do that overnight. And there was a lot of times where I felt discouraged. And, it wasn't but for God and perseverance that the seeds of success obviously were sown, right? I remain faithful in my actions, knowing that growth takes time, but consistency pays off. I would say you don't need skill, you need to be consistent, because you can learn any skill. And I'm a testament to that. I am the epitome of an uber entrepreneur. Okay. I have done resume writing. I have done babysitting. I have done coaching. I have done banking. I've done merchant process. I've done so many different things in life. Okay. But one thing has always remained, no matter what I did, I wanted to be a leader. I wanted to inspire and encourage other people. And so I always did my best to grow there, but a leader shows up consistently. And that's something that I learned along the way. So a leader shows up consistently. Let's keep in mind James 2:26. For as the body apart from the spirit is dead, so also faith apart from works is dead. Our actions are not only a testament to our dedication, but also a powerful declaration of our faith and our commitment to our goals, to what we have here, to our goals for our team, to what we're building here with Miracle Workers. Okay. Everyone following along? Okay. Do you understand the theme that we're doing here? Go ahead, Carrie.
I've got to add something because whether y'all want to believe it or not, in high school, I was actually on the track team and I was a runner and I had to run out of blocks multiple times. Crystal, and you spoke on consistency and focus and what that takes, and rather like the position. Okay. Not only do you have to be in position, you have to be aware. There's one lane that you can come in, that you're running in. If you step out of that lane, you're disqualified. If you take off before that daggum gun, y'all, they shoot a gun, and like that's alarming even of itself. Because when I was younger, I didn't even know where that bullet went. Do y'all know that bullets don't come out of that gun? Yeah, didn't know that either. And I'm like, what the heck? Like I grew up around guns, so I know about them, but not like, I didn't know they were like little fake ones, and I never looked at it. You're not focused on that. But I knew what that sound meant and where that was going. And so I would get so scared just knowing, anticipating the sounds that were going to come. And how often when we're going down a new path, when we're running our race towards our finish line, are we so worried about what someone's going to say to us? We're so worried about someone else finishing before us or bumping into us or tripping us. And then I also did the hurdles, Crystal. You know what the hurdles are? Yeah, I did them. And that was fantastic. You jump up and you can do 3 steps in between. You're really great. I did 4 on a great day because I'm shorter. But truly, the hurdles that they come, you jump over them, you hit one, you fall, you get back up, you fall, you get back up, you finish. The thing is that you finished. But often it's not just about that focus, but it's about like blinders, like blinders, like on a horse, you put them on your kids when you go to the grocery store. Oh, wait, just me. No kidding. Just kidding. Those things that when you go to check out and it's got that whole, all the candy bars, that's on purpose. Okay. Because it's like, just one more time. We want to make your day miserable, moms of kids. We want to make them grab stuff, or that's their chance to steal something and you don't know it. You got to keep those blinders on. So staying in your lane, but staying focused on your goal. Crystal, I love that you mentioned that. And I love that you mentioned, the works. You got to put this stuff into action. It's no good, remember, if you don't use it. All right. Yeah, Mary, that wasn't an option. Under wasn't an option. You had to go over.
I love that. So on the note of intense and intentional and intense, right? And Carrie, I know that you've got a story to share right after, so we'll just share, and then I'd love to hear from some of you before we get into some IPAs. Just comment in the comments if you know what an IPA is. Carrie and Steve, you don't count, you can't do it. So IPA, I want to know if you know what that is. So before we get in, I want to talk about what intentional and intense looks like for me. So recently, last week we talked about, or the week prior, excuse me, we talked about, downloading your Facebook friends list or your follower list and making sure that you follow through with that. I needed to take it a step further. So I have my Facebook list, but then I have a whole nother platform that I'm not necessarily utilizing. Yes, income producing activities. Good job. Good job, Ginger. Okay, so I realized TikTok I'm not really utilizing, and really because it kind of intimidates me. I don't want to get stuck in a doom scroll. There's a lot of stupid videos that I will end up watching, and they're really good about the algorithm. They put right into there, but TikTok kind of makes me depressed. So I have to be super intentional about how I interact on TikTok. But recently I started realizing, well, if I just say, okay, I'm going to scroll for 10 minutes and I'm going to be super intentional and highly intense. Okay. And what does that look like for me? Stepping out of my comfort zone. There are a lot of people out there, spoonies. There's probably a few of spoonies on this page. Okay. Spoonies is like, I have my spoons. I got 5 spoons to start the day off, but it takes 1 spoon to get up out of my bed. It might take 2 spoons that day to get dressed. And then by the time I'm dressed, maybe an additional spoon to get my kids up and make some breakfast, and then another spoon to go ahead and do a Zoom, right? By now, my spoon cup is empty, okay? And then you have to do something to refill that spoon, your spoon pile, okay? And that's really where like personal development comes in, coaching, mentorship, all the things. So anyway, so I started to get very intentional and intense with how I interact in those 10 minutes on TikTok. So I see that the algorithm is really starting to bring, we call them spoonies. So the spoonies my way, people that are chronically ill, people that are struggling. They're just like me. They're just like a lot of us. They wake up, they're sharing their story, but they're lost. They've seeked out medical help. They've seeked out all the things. They need what we have. Okay. But it's kind of hard to get someone's, attention when they've got 10,000 people commenting in their comments, because this is a real thing. This is a real movement. People are sharing their stories. And so what I started to do was anytime I would come across, and it's like my whole algorithm. So now I just get to spend 10 minutes following, hearting, and interacting on these posts. But instead of just like nurturing a relationship where I'm like, hey, I'd love to chat sometime and all that, people blow that off on TikTok. So instead, what I've done is I can relate to exactly what you're posting. I found something that helps. Let me know if you'd like me to share some info. And I'm literally just so intentional about what it's doing. And yesterday I had 3 people comment back, yeah, share away. Today I had a bigger influencer comment back, and I haven't reached out again because I need to be intentional about my follow-up. But there are people that are waiting for what we have. And so I decided that my intense part of that would be that I'm going to step out of my comfort zone, and I'm just literally going to go out there and say, hey, I have something that works. If you want to know, let me know. And then I throw it in God's hands, because if they comment back, great. And if they don't, the truth is I've commented on so many, I don't remember who's not commenting back. I'm just letting everyone know. I'm not looking for no's, right, Steve? I'm looking for the people that are going, aha, yeah, share more. Tell me more. And those are where the gems come in. So Carrie, how are you being super intentional and super intense, especially in like just in general? How are you being super intentional and intense? And I'd love for you guys, we'll take a couple, like 3. If you'd like to share a way that you're being intentional and intense for your business, just raise your hand and we'll come to you.
A couple like 3. If anybody ever rewatches this and just takes our isms that we have, it would make a whole show. You don't even have to go make your own content. Like, just make a comedy session out of a couple like 3. Listen, Mary and Bob, that is not the kind of spooning we were talking about. And when you called it spoonies, Crystal, that was a whole new word for me. I was like, spoonies, hold on. And y'all need to go read the spoon theory. It's a thing, especially for people that deal with an autoimmune chronic illness, stuff like that. If you mention it, y'all should actually, as an interactive post on your Facebook, do y'all know what a spoonie is? How many spoons do you have today? And then from there, you go in and you talk to those people. If that's your people, if you're someone that knows about that and someone else, resonates, you're like, let me tell you how I get one of my spoons back. I get up and I put focus on. There, spoon returned, because I know that I don't have to think so hard during my day. And so that's a good way to use that. Crystal, with my intentional time, I make a schedule. I have a schedule for my children during the day. And I know when I've got to put that phone away, because I will worship this thing, y'all. I'm admitting that. If I'm not careful, this will take first place, because this puts money on the table. This puts food in the pantry. This puts clothes on my kids. This pays for gas. This does all those things that job does that we have to have. And if I'm not intentional with taking this thing and going, nope, I've not done my job that day as a human being on this earth for what God's put me here. So a schedule for me is the most important thing. My kids know when they're going to get me. And then I also, this is something I'm very intentional with. If you're going to do a 3-way call, I need like a 3-hour in advance notice, right? Let me know 2-3 hours in advance. 24 hours is fantastic, so we can set it up and I'm ready, they're ready, you're ready. And then, text me before, then call me, just so that I'm in the right place at the right time for it. I have one that's happening today that's going to happen on the road. I don't scroll for enjoyment unless I've done my list for the day. How many of you make lists? Yeah? Do you break it down, or do you just do like laundry? And I'm not talking about just laundry. It's like, take the clothes to the laundry room. Check. I did it. It feels good to do that. Sometimes you got to set a timer for 10 minutes to scroll. And then underneath that, during that 10 minutes, what's the priority? Is it to heart 5 posts for friends that you haven't seen in a while? You have to be intentional with your list. It's not enough to just make the list. When you make that list of names you want to reach out to, why do you want to reach out to them? Did you see a post that they dealt with pain issues? Did they post about their child having a hard time focusing? Maybe they're having a really great day and you want to call them up and celebrate with them. Y'all, do y'all know that our patches are used like just for people to have fun too? Someone asked me, I think it was this past week, do we have one that like makes you tipsy? I'm like, well, hadn't been asked that yet. But I would suggest, I went into it. I went with it. I go, but I would suggest Joy, because I don't have to be belligerent when I go to my family reunions. Y'all picking up what I'm putting down? I can be happy and excited and nothing will bother me, which is kind of that sense of that. I mean, come on, if we can market that might work. I don't know, like be happy without the stuff that makes you happy, like without drugs and alcohol, the stuff. Anyway, you have to make the list. That's what I do, Crystal. And then I have to keep myself on guard for my family or for what I'm doing. I have to know that it's going to take care of itself. But if I'm not intentional, it gets away with me. Next thing I know, I've sat there and the laundry never went to the laundry room because I just said do laundry. And that is overwhelming. If I just said post on things. Something I've gotten really intentional about, and I want to teach y'all this at the very end. Chat GPT, Crystal, I have figured it out. It is so simple. It is so easy. And you no longer have the excuse of, I don't know what to say. Because you literally can go into Chat GPT, put in the word pain. I'm not lying. I've been testing it for you. And then it's going to give you 5 different options of stuff about pain. And we're going to be able to utilize this. And the excuse of doing that is over. And also, Crystal, I learn things. When I'm intense, I'm learning something. If I see something that I like on Instagram or story or something that's shared on TikTok, TikTok doesn't scare me. I mean, just swipe off of the stuff. I mostly will watch people eat if I'm just bored. I'm never just bored though. Yeah. Anyway, I could make a ton off of those ASMR ones. I'd choose not to. I'd be huge. Anyway, when I see something that I like, I send it to myself. Did y'all know you can email yourself? You can text yourself. You can message yourself on Facebook. You can message yourself on Instagram. And you can literally go put your name in and send it to yourself. You're like, oh, I got a message from myself. And then just keep this little file in there of stuff that you like to do. Screenshot it, slow it down. So I'm there to learn and I'm there to grow my business, right? That's the only thing I do for social media. Other than that, Crystal, schedule, list. I mean, I say other than that. Kim,
Right,
what's
that's
something
big.
that you, yeah, thank you. What's something that you do, Kim, to schedule your day? How are you intense and intentional?
There's a couple things. I do the blimp system daily. And then I also do 3 times a week. Typically Monday, Wednesday, Friday, but sometimes my Friday turns into a Saturday. It's like, whoops, I forgot. But at least I got it in my 3 times a week that I do it. And then scheduling the responses too, with responding and liking other people's posts and whatnot. So, and commenting. And it's that and then between the 2 books, which I finished, the Atomic Habits, and then just working on the teamwork book.
I love that, Kim. And I love that you already finished Atomic Habits. Like, that is not a small book. So congratulations, y'all. Give her a hand because that's something to be consistent about, right? When you make it through a book. Thank you for sharing that, Kim.
It's, and for those that don't like to read, like me, this book was easy for me to read. It was so easy to read because it's not consistently informational. They do the storytelling. They do the stories. They make it relatable with some of the stories that they put in there to kind of make it relatable, if that makes sense. So to me, it's the teamwork book is harder for me to read.
Yeah, but both are super, super valuable. I'm really proud of you because it shows. It shows, and Kim and I are partners here, so like it shows in your daily action that you're being intense and intentional, just in how you're getting out there and you're sharing, and the blimp system for you, that has been something that you've had to be super intentional about, and you've seen benefits. I mean, she is a pro blimper, right? Like you're always promoting that and offering, and I love that and I appreciate that because I see it working in your business. So I love that you're showing up intense and intentionally. Okay, so who is ready to get into some IPAs? Let's talk about IPAs. So IPAs are income producing activities. These are the actions that drive our growth and our success. Okay, so we have here, I would say we have more than 4, but I'm going to share with you 4 essential IPAs to weave into your daily routine. Okay, you ready? Number 1 is inviting. This is where the magic begins. When I first started, I created a list of everyone I believed could benefit from the Super Patch. At first, it was scary. It's a little scary to reach out to people and say, "Oh my gosh, I found something that I really think you're going to love." Okay? But honestly, most of the time my opening line was like, "Hey, I found something really exciting that I think you're going to love to hear about. Can I share this with you?" Or, "Hey, I finally found something that actually works." And this approach has honestly opened so many doors to countless meaningful conversations and relationships, but a lot of that came from, I'll go back to that intense and intentional. The fact that I've shown up consistently means that I've built a rapport with my network and my community on social media, especially. So when I was like, "Hey, I found something to work that works," I had the authority because people knew I wasn't just going to try anything. So inviting is your number one IPA, inviting. Okay. And then number two would be presenting. This is your moment to shine, or your moment to get your people in front of someone who is very skilled in this area in presenting. Okay. So whether or not it's you hosting a Zoom call or you inviting people to a Zoom call, okay, conducting one-on-one meetings yourself, or inviting your leader on a three-way call or a micro meeting, sharing your personal story on social media, all of those things ensure that the biggest thing is that you ensure that they are presented in a way that reflects your enthusiasm and belief in the product. I say that because it's important that where that heart for you is coming in. Okay. And then when you get them in front of a leader or an expert presenter, which is our leadership here, right? When you get them in front of people that know, that has to match your energy too. Okay. So I always say, before they jump on their three-way me in, I'll be like, "Okay, tell me something real quick, run it down." But guys, guess what? As soon as I get on the phone, I forget about all that stuff and I make the person tell me too. But it just gives me a leverage as the person coming in on that three-way call to say, "Okay, I know what our game plan is," right? Carrie, I see you shaking your head. Like, that's what we do. We go into further discovery for you. I'll go into that in a minute. So here's a pro tip: share real life transformations, stories of how the super patch has positively impacted lives around you. Okay. Because this builds an emotional connection that not only sparks interest, but it builds trust. That's why we're always saying, get people into Amazing Patch Stories group. Make sure they're on the Amazing Patch Stories live. We have one tonight at 7:30 Central, right after Steve's expert presented opportunity call. Okay, there's a reason he was asked. Actually, at Carrie's event in Austin, we had someone random show up, and they were on a different leg from somewhere else. We'd never met him before. Maybe Steve paid him before, I don't know. But the reality is, he's not on, so I can pick on him, right? The reality is that they stood up and they said, "Steve Schultz call on Tuesday nights is the best call to be on." You guys, that's your leadership here, right? That's our guy. And he was called out as, that's the best presentation to have people on. It's short, it's sweet, it's expert presenting. Came out funky, but it truly is. He lives and breathes this presentation. All right. So getting them in front of that. And then last night on our team call, we also touched base on, get on those Zooms and get into Amazing Patch Stories group and read the testimonies. Because as you go out and you venture and you're intense and intentional with your interactions, now you can say, "Oh, you know what? I actually heard about my friend Paul struggled with this, and this is how he found benefits in this. My friend Laura, she was struggling." We're all friends here. We're all family. We're a team. My friend Ginger just posted about that, actually. I'd love to tag you in that testimony. See how it works? Okay, so presenting those real life transformations, those real life impacts matter. Number 3 is connecting. So building genuine relationships is crucial. And yes, it is an income producing activity, because in order to get through to some people, they need that conversation. They need that personalized message. Okay. They need you to break down their gatekeeper walls. Okay. So something like, "Hey, I just came across this and I thought of our last chat about, you wanting to get a little healthier. Hey, Carrie, we just talked recently about Landon having a hard time focusing. I just found something that actually might work for you. My kids are using it too. Hey, Ginger, you were talking about homeschooling and that you were getting stressed out. I just found something that helps me. I homeschool too. And I just start putting on me and my kids, and we're not having days where we're crying anymore. Stephanie, you were talking about you have balance issues. I just found something that I think is really going to benefit you. I'm using it too. Can I share it with you? Okay. So just things that, connecting those lines, being able to show that you care that you can recall memories. Guys, I write notes. When I say I have notebooks on this desk, here you've been in this room. I mean, I'm talking notebooks. There's probably notes about 90% of you. If you've ever talked on a Zoom, I've written a note about you. Honestly, if I'm on a three-way call, they're good unless you said something that wasn't good. And I was like, let's touch base or pray on that. But no, really, I do write notes because my brain, the way it functions, I've got brain fog. I've got all the things, right? I need to be able to recall back. And when I'm in a three-way and they're sharing it all real quick and we're having these conversations, and I need to be able to make sure that person understands, I see you, I hear you, you're worth listening to, you matter. Okay, so those relationship, I know that, if you build a relationship, it doesn't mean you're going to get paid and so on. And so how is this in the income producing activities? It's because it's important. It's an important step. So we're inviting them. We're inviting them to see what we've got here, our solution. We're presenting it or getting them in front of someone that is consistent and that is confident in their presentation. We're connecting with them. We're doing discovery. We're building trust. We're listening to them. We're not just out here to say, oh, just try this. And you guys, we are not a one patch fits all. Do you understand that? The reality is every body is different, and it's really important because we come across people. Dr. Iman stated this last night, is like, sometimes people think that pain is their biggest issue. And sorry, maybe it was Mark that said this, but the pain is their biggest issue. But what if we could get you moving again? What if we could get you in less stress? To be honest, our bodies can tolerate a lot of pain. I am a walking, breathing testament of that. Okay. But if once I started to be able to get out of bed and move, and I wasn't focused on my depression, and I wasn't anxious all the time, and I wasn't doing those things that, kick it keeps me away from, I was able to live a better quality of life. And even if I do have pain. Okay. So being able to have the conversations with people to say, I hear what you're saying, Ginger, and it sounds, Ginger, you're just right up on my screen, so I'm picking on you today, but it sounds, like stress is really a hard thing for you, and get them to open up about that conversation. But that doesn't come, or that issue, that doesn't come without conversation. Okay. And the fourth thing, are you ready? Closing. I know this aspect feels intimidating because you feel closing. Now I'm a salesperson, but I need you to shift your perspective a little bit. Think of it not as asking for a sale, but as guiding someone toward a life-changing decision. Whose lives have been changed with the Super Patch? Can I see a raise of hands? Oh, so all of us. Oh, good. Good to know. Yep. If you're not on screen, I can't see it, but I'm just going to trust all of you have, right? Or someone someone you love has been impacted in a way that made us decide, I got to share this. I got to share this. So you have to use gentle nudges out, like, what are your thoughts on the Super Patch after hearing all of this? Or, what I hear you saying, Carrie, is this. And what I would say is we have the solution for you. Some people take a little softer approach. This comes by practice. Some people need you to literally say, Teresa, you need the focus patch. Okay. Some people literally need you to say, Esther, it's gloomy and dark sometimes where you live. You need the joy patch. But they're not going to necessarily openly come out to you. But when you have those conversations, they give you buying cues. Right. And this is with anything that you do. If you ever go to a restaurant, or you go to buy a car, or you go to buy appliances, or you buy new furniture, or you're looking for a bed, or any of the things, they listen for buying cues. And it's the things that you tell them. But it doesn't have to feel shady and salesy. You're having a conversation. When you go to the doctor, they're listening for cues. Do they want to be medicated? Do they want a real answer? Can I give them a placebo? Like all the things they're listening for. Okay. So when you speak, just know that people are always interpreting that and perceiving that in a way. But when we're having conversations, it's important that our energy stays where we need it. And the way you can maintain control in a situation when in a conversation where someone is sharing important things about them is to recall what they're sharing with you. And then you listen for those closing cues. You listen for the things that hurt. They have children, their husband's suffering. You guys, I had a conversation for someone else while I was at the meeting here. I stepped away from our training to help someone with patches. I demoed her, and it was for someone not even in our organization, and it was okay because I love doing it. We love to give back. We really believe in that one team motto, okay? It is what it is. But in 20 minutes, I already knew everything I needed to know about her. Okay, everything I needed to know. I knew that her husband was a retired police officer. I knew that she was taking care of a girl that she's doing foster care with. I knew her mom just had a stroke and she was struggling. I knew that she had 22 grandchildren and looked like she was 30. I knew that she was athletic because she hurt her collar or her shoulder blade by doing handstand contest with her grandchildren who could last longer. Who could say that? I was doing a handstand contest with my grandchildren. I'm like, lucky if anything. I knew that she did real estate. I knew that where she lived. I knew what she enjoyed. I knew that she did networking before. I knew that she had tried other patches. I knew how far she traveled. I knew what car she drove. I knew all these things in 20 minutes because the approach of my conversation was genuinely to find out things about her. You'll notice that I hardly even talked about the patches. I went right into tell me more about what you're looking for. And slowly I would say, okay, hold on. You want the kick it patch. And she'd start writing it down. Well, why do I want this? Okay, this for this. And then I'd hear her call out someone's name and I'd recall that. Okay, so tell me more about Kendall and her stress. Tell me more about those issues. And I would recall those things. Okay, so whoever gets her is going to be one lucky associate, just for the record, because she's going to be awesome. But the reality of why I tell you this is that through those conversations, you hear what you hear the buying cues, and it doesn't sound like I want help with stress. It sounds like I have 22 grandchildren. I'm trying to keep up, right? You have to listen for those things. Okay. The more you listen, the more you'll know. And then, don't forget your leader's job here is to close for you. Did you hear me? I know you guys get nervous sometimes, and maybe not everyone on the screen, but people watching later, you get nervous about closing the deal. Well, now I made them my friend. And now I'm listening to everything, but how do I go from I'm listening to everything to buy my patches, sign up as an associate? Well, if you get stuck at that point, invite your leader in. Three-way calls are created this way. They've been around for years and years and years. They are a staple in any type of business in general. When you buy a house, you have a closer. When you go to the bank and get a loan, you have a closer. When you buy a vacuum, you got a closer. When you go and you do different things, there's always someone that is really good at closing. And your leader's job is to close you. When we get on leadership calls with Jay, he says, this is your job. You get paid to do this. Show up. Let them close for you. And what that sounds isn't like, hey, Jeanette, or hey, Jeanette's person on the phone. Now you can buy from Jeanette. It doesn't sound like that. It sounds more like, hey, Terry, I can't wait for you to be a part of this community with us. I know you're going to feel a lot of difference in that pain level once you get that freedom and that liberty patch on for you. It sounds like, what Eva was sharing with me about you, Mary, is that, you could really benefit from trying out our REM patch. She said you don't sleep very well at night. Okay. That's what it sounds like. It doesn't sound like, okay, Mary, get out your card. Time to put it in. Time to order. How about that momentum kit? We listen. We're trained to do that. Okay. Get them in front of expert presenters and expert closers. We are very blessed with what we've got in our organization in general as a whole. Sideline, upline, downline, all the things. Sister lines, all the things. Okay. We're very gifted. We're very blessed to have the spiritual gifts and the talents that we have. So earlier when I told you that story of talents, I wonder how many talents you waste. I wonder how many talents you sit on because of fear. What if I close them too hard? What if I ask Dana to order and she says no? Easy. Give her some time, reapproach, right? So your leader's job is to close for you. They have the experience and the skills to help steer the conversation toward a successful conclusion. Do you know how? We learned from someone else. We practiced. We learned. That's the only way. That's the only reason. Every single one of you can be a closer. Every single one of you is already a leader. You need to believe that of yourself. Okay. But when you're not sure about how do I get them to transition to the next point, invite your leader in. Invite your leader in and then learn. And of course, when you hone in on these activities and we really take from, our efforts just being simply busy to being purpose driven and fostering lasting connections, that's when we see tangible growth in our business. Okay. So before we get into some action items, really taking some action, Carrie, do you have anything you want to add on just, inviting, presenting, connecting, and closing?
I think that closing is one of the hardest tasks that we have. Would you agree? Yeah, it's easy to talk about our own story because it's ours. It's easy to share about the patches because we can lead them to a Facebook page with stories. We can share with them a picture maybe that we have. We can just simply hold the pack of patches and turn it around and look at it, right? All of that comes from the knowledge that you have, but to close it properly, you have to know who you're talking to. You truly have to know who you're talking to. If someone approached me and said, I'm doing this, it's the best thing since sliced bread, pull out your credit card, are you in or are you out? I would run. You don't know, like, I might not like sliced bread. Let's talk about that. I might want homemade bread. You're laughing, James, but Crystal just taught me how to make homemade bread, and I went down to go make it myself, and I was terrified because she wasn't here, and I'm like stuck. And it made me think, Crystal, how often, we're side by side. If Laura and I were out to lunch today, we would have a time because our confidence would be bolstered because we both are in the same business. We both have confidence we could bounce off of each other. And when our waitress comes over, as we get to know her or the waiter, we're asking questions and we're confident because we're together, right? We're together. I was confident making that bread, even though all I did was like watch you take some videos and then like knead it. I was learning and I was looking. And when you're on a three-way call, you're learning and you're looking. You're confident because you're together, okay? And so in a situation, Laura and I are at lunch, our waitress comes over. What's going to happen? Well, I've been in the business longer than her. And so I'm going to naturally take the lead because that's what I should do, lead by example, okay? Automatically, when you're around someone that hasn't been doing it as long as you want to lead by example. And I also was led. And I also fell forward and learned and figured it out, right? And so what I would do is I would continue to have that conversation. Then I would ask that person, would you like to fill this demo? Because at this point, she has told us the back pain she has. She's told us about the kid that can't focus. And I go, okay, that's great. That's nice. But I need you to feel this so that you know how fast it works. I'd ask Laura she would stay quiet because too many talking is a crowd. She would stay quiet and she would video us because we want to send this video to that person that's being demoed, okay? And I truly thought about this as I went down by myself to try to make bread, and guess what? I didn't make it. And I knew Crystal was busy because of some stuff she was doing, and I didn't call her, and it never got made. And so now all that's in my pantry is like sliced bread from the store, and I have such a complex about eating that right now. Not that it's not, you shouldn't, right? Whatever you want to do. But I didn't do it, Crystal, and I didn't make it. How many of you can sit there and go, I didn't have the confidence because she wasn't beside me, and I didn't even make the three-way call. That person was interested. All I needed to do was get my upline or get my friend, it doesn't matter who you use, on the phone. And when you're asking those questions, like the young lady who she's not liked a single post of mine, she's not commented on anything, and she got in my messenger and said, I need the help for my boy. They're talking about putting him on medication for ADHD. She can tell she's a teacher. She knew that's where the conversation was going. And I said, okay, great. This is what I suggest. This is what's worked for others. Let's get on a phone call. She never had the time to get on the phone call. So we kept messaging because some people are just like that. If it can be said in a text, please text me. Like, that's kind of me almost 90% of the time. Okay. Because I'm busy. I got a lot going on. And so I'm like, just do it real quick. Crystal does voice text. I'm like, no, I gotta read it. So we fight over that. Lori likes to have phone conversations. And I'm like, Lori, I don't always have time for that. And so we fight over that, but we figure it out. Okay. She didn't want to message or talk to me, but she took my advice because I took enough time to ask her questions and gave her straightforward what I saw that worked. But I didn't let her just do like, I'm not just going to send a sample. Okay. And it wasn't a situation where I needed to pull my upline in on. I didn't need to let Steve know, hey, I've got someone looking to be a customer for their kid. That's not a situation. So fast forward, she orders, she gets something for pain. So I said, as soon as your stuff comes in, talk to me, because that's what I want to do with my customers. I want to make sure they get demoed, right, Crystal? This is all parts of the steps of going through, whether you're in person, on the phone, messaging, whatever. So the next step is she got her stuff and she let me know. And I said, call me if you can. She was in the line waiting to pick up her kid. Because I'm like, first thing you need to do is demos. Have someone demo, you demo your kid. So I get on the phone with her and I said, do you want me to walk you through how to do it? She goes, I've already seen all your videos. I'm like, I don't even know. I've already seen the way you did that demo to your son. Is that the way I do it? I'm like, yeah, just like that. And I go, and I noticed you got freedom. Who is that for? More questions, more stuff. She's a teacher. Teachers are influential. We have 2 teachers on this Zoom right now that if their bosses walked in, I'd say hello. Literally, you guys like, and so the influence that they have, I said, listen, when you give this to Jackson and he starts thriving the way that you're going to see, people are going to start asking you. And I said, don't tell the teachers you did anything. And I took that conversation the next step. It wasn't time to close her. I didn't need to call Steve on this. I didn't need to call Crystal just because she has a child that's using Focus. I didn't need that. This person in this situation, that's what needed to happen. Now, there are times that you're going to know that that person is like, yeah, I'd love to know more about the business. And you're like, oh, shoot, how do I talk to them about momentum? And to this, I say, how much do you value it? Do you wish you could have got momentum when you started? Do you? I got the biggest kit they offered. I think at the time it was $100, Steve. 200, 199. I don't remember. I wish I could have got it because right now I know what the value is. I know how valuable it is. But if you don't understand that, I promise your upline does. And if the person who enrolled you doesn't understand that, the next person will. And if they don't, I know personally I have 19 levels, so look up. Scroll your way up. Find who works with you for 3-way calls. If it's strictly business, I'm contacting Steve. Steve, look, this is a guy that's been doing this. This is an athlete that's been here. You're fantastic at this. I need you to say this. And he is great for that. I just like, hey, let's get on the phone with my upline, Steve. He's been in the business longer than I have. He's known about network marketing for however many years. I don't give him a fancy title, y'all. I don't. It's simple. And he's going to get on the phone and he's going to do the talking and I'm going to be quiet. But don't sit there by yourself. You saw it done once. Don't get down there and get intimidated and not call Crystal on phone and be like, what was that first step? Because you told me about agitating the yeast. That's where I'm really struggling with. Like, what's that going to look like? Do y'all know you could do a practice run on 3-way calls? You literally could do a practice run. You can call somebody up. You can call up and do discovery. I would do that with you. We don't even have to have anybody on the phone. We've done stuff like that. We've done a whole discovery Zoom. We've done 3-way call Zooms. We've done trainings over all of this. And it literally just takes your confidence going, shoot, I don't remember that step. I got to get her on the phone. That's all it is. That's all it is. You can even tell that person that you're trying to get on the 3-way because this is where the gold is. You've done the talking, you've done the walking, you've put the demo on, and now taking it to the next level, closing. Listen, I'm learning how to do this in the business. Would you mind just getting on and letting me listen and learn? They think that you're learning from them and they're actually learning from your upline. And you've taken the pressure off of yourself. Crystal, I love these income producing activities that we have. It is so important to invite people to look at the patch and invite them to the presentation. And then you connect with them. Do y'all know that when I have a guest on a presentation that Steve's leading or whomever is leading it, I'm texting that guest. I'm like, this is my favorite time. I love watching Brandy go down the steps. Like, I miss my nails when they look like that. Oh, I miss those shoes. They're all worn out now. Like, because I'm in that video, right? Or when he talks about when he gets to the business part, and I'm like, oh my gosh, wish I could have got the momentum kit. You know, that I refresh my kits by getting the Omni kit ever so often when I want to get more as an associate. This is my favorite part. Isn't Steve great? You know, or whatever it is. I'm texting and talking back and forth to them, and we're engaged. And I know when you're in a room with someone and someone's presenting, you're not like talking, but I'll nudge you. I'll be like, this part, watch this, don't miss this. And you're keeping them engaged, right, Rachel? And interactive. Like right now you're interacting with me. I see your smile and it's beautiful. And I love that you're here. And that's how we interact. We do that on Zooms, but we can do that through text and through messaging, you know? So the connection part is golden. If you don't do that, you're not going to close. If you don't connect, you're not going to close. I've learned that from Steve a long time ago. Network marketing is all about relationships. It's all about relationships. If you don't have that relationship, forget about closing. So, and I even love the order that you have this. It goes in the absolute best order. But don't sit down there by yourself trying to make bread when you don't know how to do it. Humble yourself. Ask your upline. It's okay. So, Crystal, not today because I'm traveling, but tomorrow I'm going to call you and be like, all right, walk me through again.
All right.
You know? And the more I do that, the more I'm going to learn, and I'm not going to need her. But she did it first with me. Then she's going to do it and not be in my presence. And then at some point, I'm just going to text her and ask a couple questions. And next thing you know, I'm teaching somebody else how to do it. Yeah. Right? See how that circle comes around? Y'all know what I'm talking about. The only thing that we really didn't need to be taught was brushing our teeth. We had that conversation. So, Crystal, I think it's fantastic. Thank you so much for putting that out there.
Thank you for follow-up. So Jeanette asked in the comments, and I want to know from a few of you, we've got about 4 minutes before we jump into some action items. And so she said, how would you advise, after inviting someone to a 3-way call or Zoom and they refuse, probably due to fear of the unknown, how to advance? What do you guys do in that situation, or what do you do? You've talked to someone, Jeanette. What I'm gathering from what you said here is you saying, I've had this conversation with someone, I've done this discovery, we've shared, maybe they've been on a Zoom, maybe you've gotten them to that point, and now the only thing left because they just won't close is to get them on a 3-way call. Am I correct in kind of assuming?
Actually, no, it's
Okay.
actually even the first step, inviting them to just Steve's Zoom on Tuesdays. That like
And they
that
say no.
too. Mm-hmm.
Bless and release. That's my answer.
That, or I would want to know how you're asking them. You know, I'd want to know the conversation, because Steve will tell you he never invites anybody without having a prior conversation or them being demoed. And so I would want to know, what was the message being sent? You know, was it random? Then likely they're going to say stop, or, you know, say no thanks. And it doesn't mean they're not looking, Jeanette. It doesn't mean that they're not going to circle back around. But maybe I would just ask them just a couple more questions, get to know them. I would do that discovery. Then I would like, hey, you know, because it could be too much for some people, right? Steve, do you agree, disagree?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, the reason I had to jump off was I did a 3-way call. And this person he said to me, he goes, I was very hesitant to get on with you. And I said, why? He goes, because I just didn't believe in this. I said, that is the reason you should talk to me. And earlier this morning, I had a call with somebody, and she said, I've got somebody who is really interested, and they just want me to send them information. I said, no, don't send them anything. Don't send them anything. I said, they need to have a conversation with you, and then you get them on a 3-way call with me. And all I told her to say was, listen, I am brand new in the business. I've got this guy who's been doing it for a long time. He can explain it a lot better than me. And she's making that call right now. So if somebody said to me, if I'm trying to get somebody on a 3-way with someone, and they go, well, no, you know, I say, listen, you're looking for the information, right? Right? And they go, yeah. I said, I'm trying to set you up with the best person to give you the information you're looking for. And then we go from there. But I don't send anybody any information until we have a conversation because they have these preconceived notions of it. Like seriously, if Jay Dollywall 2.5 years ago would have just sent me an email that said, "Hey Steve, go to my website and take a look around," I would have went, "I'm not doing that." And if I did go look at it, I'd be like, "Oh yeah, this guy's trying to tell me that all I have to do is put this patch on my arm and my pain's going to go away. This guy's goofy. No, I don't have time for this." I literally would have said that to myself. So I think it's crucial. Do whatever you can to get people on a three-way call.
Yeah. The other thing that I want to add to, Jeanette, and this might be helpful, I value people's time because I know how much my time is worth. And so if people like within my message, and I'll throw some of those, I think I've put some in Miracle Workers, but I'll put some out there that maybe we need to create like a folder, Crystal, where we can put some stuff. Maybe we have it. But in my invite, if you join as a guest of mine tonight, your name goes in a $50 drawing. Guess what? I'm going to take that down a notch. Your name goes in a $40 drawing. Because if they decide to come in with the $40 kit, I'm good. So thanks, Jay, for changing 50 to 40. I'm going to save some money. And that I value them. Jeanette, does that help? Maybe a little bit of the wording. That relationship is golden. That relationship's golden. And then sometimes, like Crystal said, like bless and release. You really can't say the wrong thing to the right person. You can't say the right thing to the wrong person. Some people are just gonna bleh, you know?
I was going to follow up on that, Carrie, because I sounded pretty blunt, but for me, I'm not going to chase someone. I hate running. Okay. I'm not going to chase them. If I have to beg them to come in, I will have to beg them to stay. If I have to over convince them, I will have to do more work for them.
Will you say that again? If you have to beg them to come in,
I will have to beg them to stay.
Boom.
Okay. So, and I've done it, y'all. I love strategic placement. Okay. But I can tell you that I have built 100 people in someone's downline and she walked away from it. She didn't have the grit or the desire like I did, but I begged her to come. I was like, "Come on over. I got you. I'll help you. We'll do the thing." She came in as a founder. She is in this company, built her 100 people in her organization, and she walked away. Some of you are like, "I can't even imagine how blessed I'd be if I had 100 people in my organization." So this is why I'm very specific. You know, Steve talked about using the leverage of strategic placement last night. And knowing who you can leverage that to is very important. Okay. Because I'm not going to go to any random person and say, "I've got 4 people to put on you," unless I know that that person is someone I can trust to nurture that downline like I would do. Right. But I don't chase people. So that's what I meant, Jeanette, when I was like, bless and release, just leave them be. If you have to beg them to get on a call, they're not. And sometimes it's bless and release for now. For now. You know, and then they come back around, like Carrie said. You know, I've got a lady that won samples out of our Amazing Patch Stories group a few months ago. And I was so excited because they really are at random and it was someone that I added. So I was like, yes. And I gave her samples and she ghosted me. So after a few follow-ups, I thought, I'll just leave her be. I'm not going to chase her. I can't do it. And then she contacted me yesterday and said, "Hey, when can we set up a meeting with my adult children for their kids? I need you to come over my house and show them how it works." So they're watching, you know, and once you plant that seed, you can cultivate it by being consistent, not by necessarily having to kill yourself to reach out to them and beg them to see a presentation. Dana, do you have something before we jump further?
Yes, I have a question. Okay, so we do quite a bit of events, and one of the things that I'm having a hard time is they seem excited, they're there, but I can't get them from customer to joining or becoming an associate, and I can't find that sweet spot. I have a hard time recruiting anybody, and I'm just wondering if I'm missing something or. And I know I always try and make build rapport and have a conversation away from the event. So like a second step, I can never close on the first thing anyway, ever. Have to build the rapport. But I can't get them, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm doing something wrong. I can't seem to find recruits.
So I would say to that, Dana, let's get on a phone call, me, you, and Paula, and
Okay.
let's go through the list and find out what it is that you're doing. You know, I know you guys are doing events all the time, and maybe I can plan in the next couple of months to come stand and work a booth with you and listen, because I know when I was there with Deborah recently in El Paso, when I was there, my head was spinning. So there are people waiting in line, and that's intimidating enough because you don't want to lose them, but your focus has to be on that person that's in the room. Okay. Like when we ended the meeting on Wednesday night, and I had family and friends that were here. James can tell you, I know he's an associate here in Austin, and we don't see each other very often, but I barely got to talk to him, and I totally didn't get to mention anything to my, family that I drove an hour over, because everybody else was coming up with these questions. And it made me feel like I was at a vendor event, Dana, because they had so much they wanted to know. And I had to give that value. And Crystal and Steve and I were standing there talking for a good hour after one person, after the next, that was just wanting more information. And we gave that to them. And that's the high value. And so I want to have a conversation, the three of us. So let's set that up this week. You and Paula decide on a time, and we'll go over that.
Thank you. That'd be
Oh,
great.
Steve, you go first, and then I'll go.
Yeah, Dana, it comes down to what you're saying, and it's hard to answer the question here until we find out exactly what you're saying to people. But I was doing an event with somebody pretty recently, and what they would do is when somebody would walk by their booth who was interested, they would pull them inside the booth, kind of in the booth, and do the demo. And I said, don't do that. Don't do that. I said, create chaos in front of your booth. Block the hallway where people are trying to walk by, and talk loud enough so other people can hear. So you create this chaos where people are like, what is going on here? But then what I've done at events like that is this, for me, the secret sauce is they feel the technology, it's working, and I will simply say, do you know of other people who might benefit from this technology? And every person goes, yeah. I said, well, listen, there's an income side that goes with this. And then I go into it right there. But those are the magic words that I use. Do you know of other people who might benefit from the technology that you're feeling right now? And they always say yes. And that's how it leads me into the business side of it. So just that little sentence right there might help. But create that chaos where everybody's, because Carrie just said, you're talking to one person and other people are standing in line. You go stand in the line and do the demo so they're all watching, and you create that chaos. And Carrie, I know I've seen you do it in restaurants where people at other tables are watching you do the demo on somebody, and it creates chaos, but it creates a lot of interest.
Airplanes too. Crystal, real quick, it's just like scrolling online. Dana, those of you that do stuff in person, oh my gosh, you all are frozen, and I'm talking. Can you hear me?
Fine. You're fine. Keep going.
Oh, blessed assurance.
You hear me? I hear you. Okay. She'll come back. I promise. You guys can hear me. Yeah? We're good? Okay. What I was also going to say is something that came to mind. I see you back, Carrie. Go ahead. Finish your word.
Can you hear me? Okay. So sorry. No clue. Let me get it. So people, you can't say the wrong thing to the right person, okay? And this is just like when you're scrolling online, it's the same thing, Dana. People are shopping for hope. They're shopping for candles. They're looking for something to make them feel good, okay? Whenever they come to these vendor events, or maybe looking for something natural. And when that person comes to you, here's how I know somebody's hungry. They won't leave. Like, they bring other people to your booth. They go and get their family members. They go and get their aunt. They go and get whomever, and they're bringing people back and forth to you the whole time. And that's when you know that it's like, hey, do you want them to get paid? Like, do you want me to get paid off them, or do you want to get paid off them? And they're like, what? You can get paid? Yeah, let me tell you this. And invest that time. Invest that time. Those that are hungry for it are going to click and maneuver and look and wait and learn and stand there. you know? And so if you're not closing right now, don't be discouraged. It just may not be right now.
So oh man, I was just gonna say you do it right then. You talk about the business right then.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
It needs to be
Okay.
so nonchalantly and casual into your conversation that anyone can do it, right? And so one thing that came to mind for me, Dana, is, you know, when people are walking up, there's a lot of assumption that how you operate your business is how they're going to have to operate their business. And maybe they don't want to host vendor events. And so the conversation has to casually come out so casually, but like, hey, anyone can do this. And the cool thing that we have with Super Patch is you can literally build your business however you want. I love to do vendor shows. We've got people building online, people that just share at church, people that go to doctors' offices. And so you just have you have to anticipate the rebuttal and formulate a way to get it into your conversation that you already rebut what they're going to say to you before they can even think of that thought. Right. So, you know, Lori, when I just started, I was disabled just like you. I was stuck in my bed. I had to start building this business right from my bed. I'll tell you what, I got 5 kids. They drive me nuts. I also homeschool. So we've been doing some things. I love the fact that I can build my business right here online because I've spent a lot of time pouring my story into social media. I don't know if you've ever poured yours. You know, this can seem kind of wordy, but this is a conversation you're going to have back and forth. And when you can anticipate that rebuttal, you can naturally have it. So when I present my story, does anyone ever pick up on that I say, and it came with a 50 or, you know, a 30-day money back guarantee. So I figured, what do I have to lose? That's on purpose. That's implanted in there because someone's going to say, well, I don't want to waste money. But then I can go back and say, remember when I said I had 30-day money back guarantee? Remember when I said there's no drugs, no ingredients, no side effects? Remember when I said I'm also a busy mom? Remember when I said I'm also disabled? Okay. I intentionally implant those statements, but then network marketing is a duplication system, right? Like networking, meaning talking to people, marketing, talking about your product to people, right? But when you go to someone and they come up to a table and you're already in an environment that vendor events are chaos. But I like what Steve said, block off the hallway, because I do that too. I'll be like, let me come out to you. And then you have a crowd. And guess what happens when you have a crowd? You just perform better. That's why we're always saying, you guys get on camera. Because when I can see your expressions, when I can see you're listening, thank you, Rachel. I haven't met you yet, but I really love that you're so attentive. When I can see that, and P.S., we see it increasing in all of you, because we pay attention, okay? Because we don't want to bore you to death. You're not required to sit here for an hour and a half to 2 hours, but we definitely don't want you to not absorb anything because you don't think you can do it. So that's where that fear comes in. People walking up to your table going, I don't want to stand at a booth every weekend. So you nonchalantly just incorporate that into your conversation where you're like, you know, we're so blessed. And you guys, we are. I've never been a part of another network marketing company that I can literally build professionally, like going to just those practitioners. I can build online. I can put it in a storefront if I had it. I can build it just by selling patches out of Packy, you know, out of my little Lucy's, what they're selling eggs in, little 3 eggs. I could put little 3 packs of, come on, smile. Eggs are expensive these days, right? Okay, so we can literally build it however we want, but we have to portray that, and it has to be casual. For a Jay presentation. Jay is very professional. He's very to the point. He's very knowledge-based, okay? The people that you want in front of Jay for sure are those people that they've been in network marketing for a long time, or they're doctors. They want to know the ins and outs, okay? Steve's presentation is very professional, but it's also laid back. It's also very laid back, so anyone can listen in and hear it. When we get on conversations, when we get on 3-way calls, we're not like, yes, hello, Mr. Terry. We're really excited to have you here. And today what I have for you is a great infomercial. No, we're casually having a conversation with them. And it says, you know what, Kim, I hear you. Why don't you tell me a little bit more about those dogs in the background? Why don't you tell me a little bit more about what your husband does for work, what you've been doing? Okay, we're casually, but then the experience and the expertise, right? Too many okay? Those things come in play, but it only comes from doing it and repeating it. So if you can casually offer that experience and you can already anticipate the rebuke, than you'd be able to do and have any conversation because it'll come out casually. Does that make sense to all of you? Okay, I can sell salt to a slug, ice to an Eskimo. Okay, maybe not to Esther. She's got ice outside.
No, I'm gonna call you out on this. I'm the slug, and you're selling me salt. Go.
No, we don't have time for this. Sidetracked, intentional action. We're moving forward.
All right, that was a really good intense
I know.
no. I'll take it.
I know. No. I love you. Okay, so now we're going to get into just a little bit more intentional. I know Carrie wants to teach you something that's going to really blow your mind here. So we're going to be very intentional for the next few minutes, and I'm going to open the floor for you to do this however you need. And if you have a way to do it, so you have a process, I want you to go about your process. If you don't, I want you to do contact bingo with what we're about to do. Okay, so I have a process. I have a list that I'm working through. I don't want to do contact bingo for myself because I have a list. Who downloaded their friends list and their followers list after we taught you 2 weeks ago? Thank you for your honesty. Okay, so now you have a list, right? The rest of you don't. So you need to follow along with what Carrie's going to teach you to do contact bingo. But first I want to talk about, I really want to just emphasize the importance of inviting others to our opportunity calls tonight. Opportunity call tonight. Amazing Patch Story Zoom tonight. I also want to emphasize the importance of you being on those calls tonight, being on camera tonight. Associates, if you are showing up to a testimony Zoom, we should have so many hands raised that we can't get to all of you in that 30 minutes, and you're anticipating sharing your testimony next week. I can't tell you how discouraging it is to host that Zoom and to have guests on, because I always make sure that there's a guest on. I'm always inviting. I want people in front of that testimony. Okay. All of your testimonies, your stories. But it is very discouraging when we see that we've got, and we know your names, right? We know who's an associate for the most part. And we see 30 people are on there, and we've got maybe 5 or 6 guests because it's a new Zoom, and we have 2 people raise their hand. I know that sometimes you're just listening in so that you can learn and absorb and fill up that story cup that we talked about last night. But it is very important that you show up ready to share your testimony, even if it's 10 seconds and you say, I had a really bad headache and I slapped a patch on my forehead today and it was better. Okay, so it's very important that you put your people in front of that so that they can genuinely discover how the Super Patch company, the opportunity, or the product is going to help them. Okay, so we've got fabulous opportunities for you to do that. But again, I want to encourage you to share your testimony, your real success, right? Because when we can highlight, the transformations that these patches have done for us, okay, it changes lives. It encourages lives. It encourages people to try. So we're going to send some messages. We're going to invite 10 people today. 10. You hear me? 10. Okay. And what we're going to send them is somewhere along the lines of what I just put in the comments. Hey, Carrie, I found something exciting I think you'll love. I'm sharing my testimony tonight. I'd really appreciate your support. What do you think about listening in tonight? What didn't I say? Will you listen in tonight? I opened the door for a conversation. Is everyone going to respond to this? No. Should I send this cold market message to someone I've probably never spoke to before? No. Okay. If you send this to people that you have spoken to before, you have a relationship with, so that's where your phone comes in key, your friends list, so on, this is going to be a little bit easier. Who's intimidated by this message? Ginger, unmute. First hand, so you get picked on. What intimidates you about this message?
The directness, maybe.
Okay. How would it best feel for you to send that message? Put it in your words.
It's funny because I'm a very direct person. I like super direct, but when it's something like this, I feel like, oh, wait.
Yep.
Would I want to hear that message? I guess I always look at something like, would I want to hear it? Like if I got that message, I'd be like, no. I would probably tone it down for me. I'd be like, hey, I really found something that has worked for me and my family. I'd like to share it with you. I need you to come. Can you just come today and give me your idea about it?
Yep. Who else is intimidated by that message? Thank you, Ginger. No one's raising their hands now because they don't want to be called on. I saw you, Laura. I saw you, Stephanie. Don't think I didn't see you. I'm blind, but I can see you in front of me. What's intimidating about that message? Because it is direct. You're right, Ginger. It is direct. It's a different approach because we have to be intense. It is an intense, intentional message. Okay. And so when you don't have, here's the beauty of this business. You don't have to do anything we tell you to do. We are not your boss. Okay. You can switch it up. But for me, this is an intense, intentional action. I'm saying, hey, and it's not to someone I've never spoke to before, right? It's not to someone I've never spoke to before. It's someone that I have some kind of relationship with. Maybe I've talked to them in the past, whatever it is. But I'm saying, listen, I found something really exciting. I think you'll love it. I like what you said, Ginger. I found something that's really working for my family. That works too, depending on the person you're speaking to, right? I'm sharing my testimony tonight. Guess what I just did for all of you? I just made you accountable to sharing a testimony tonight. I'm intentional in their strategy and everything I do. You guys know that, right? You know that about me. Okay. Sorry, Carrie, just a sec. I'd really appreciate your support. Now I'm putting them on the line. Laura, could you just come and listen in? I really need the support. I really need some people in the audience that I know, familiar faces that I know. Okay. And then lastly, what do you think about listening in tonight? Not do you think you could listen in tonight? That's a simple yes or no. What do you think about listening in tonight? Okay. Dana, do you have something on this? Okay, go ahead.
So the only thing I have a problem with on that is that you put me on the spot for I have to do a testimony, and I don't like giving testimony. I don't do them very often, and that puts me on the spot. So that's probably the only thing I don't like about it. But I'm gonna say that, like you said, I'm gonna put myself on the spot. But
I'm gonna interrupt. I'm gonna interrupt because if I'm not me with y'all, I'm robbing you. I saw this in the chat earlier, Jeanette Sparks and Dana. You know how I lead. You do. You've spent some great time with me. I've instilled in you. I've done everything except hold your hand every day, right? I don't like to tell a story. I don't like to tell my testimony. If I did that, would any of y'all get on here and listen to me? I don't like to talk about how good this is. And here's what I'm going to say. Maybe that's because of a confidence. I don't like to speak on a public platform, and that's okay. And Jeanette, to you, I would say this also. Go to Amazing Patch Stories, everyone. Going Amazing Patch Stories. This is why we do this. In the search bar, put pain. Okay? You're going to see my first one that comes up. Sherry Kelly's shared a post. Paula Rudd shared one. I see one of my own. Melly shared one. Jules shares one. Okay? Here's what you need to do. If you are I don't want to be put on the spot. I don't like talking in public, but you can read. Screenshot something right now. Right now. Literally go do it right now. And you know what? You can just say, my friend David, he suffers from low back pain. And as we sat and discussed, whatever, read through the post that's in Amazing Patch Stories and bring that to the Zoom tonight. Yeah, Jeanette, does that work? Hey, I found something exciting I think you'll love. I'm sharing a testimony tonight. I'd really appreciate your support. What do you think about listening? That doesn't work for you? Guess what? We're going to skip right into this next part, Crystal, because if I don't share this with you, I'm going to burst because it's going to eliminate the excuses and it's going to give everyone 5 ways to say this. I'm not kidding. So we're going to go right into this before we go into the invite because I think your message is great, but it's because I've used it before and it worked, right? And I'm willing to share a testimony. In fact, Crystal, tonight I won't be on. You know I'm going to be at that thing this evening, so you're going to do it, and you're going to shine. You're going to be great. It's going to be fantastic.
That means all of you better be on.
Yeah, you all better be on to talk to Crystal tonight because I'm going to be at a worship service, actually not far from you, Ginger, tonight. It's a Christmas gift my mom got for us, and I'm actually going to wear my Christmas shirt. But listen to this. So eliminate all excuses. All excuses. Never enough time. I discovered Chat GPT, and it is rocking my world. Okay. I cannot figure out how to get it in Messenger on Facebook to save my life, but you all may have it. We're not going to go into how to do it, but it's like this colorful little wheel. Steve, you got to listen. You're going to love this. It's a colorful little wheel that says like Meta AI or, yeah, Meta AI, META AI. There's one that I found in WhatsApp is where I'm using it. And here's what you're going to do. Go to wherever you've seen this and use this and find this, y'all, because I literally, Crystal, just put in invite to hear about opportunity, right? I see somebody waving. That's funny, Rachel. Hello. And I put in invite to hear about opportunity, and it gives 5 versions. Ginger, you ready? There's a straightforward version. There's a personal one. There's a professional one, Steve. There's a curious one and an exciting one. Okay. So go to your Chat GPT wherever it's at. Do y'all know what I'm talking about when I say Meta AI? Look at that little ring. You see that? That's going to be in your Facebook Messenger. It might be in your Instagram, but it doesn't matter. It's a text feature. It might even be when you go to text someone. Mine's in WhatsApp. So all I do is text Meta AI, invite to hear about opportunity. The first one says, hey, I wanted to share something with you that I think could be a game changer. Are you interested in hearing about an amazing opportunity? Didn't talk about patches. Just talked about the opportunity. Curious. I've stumbled upon something incredible, and I think you'll want to know about it. Want to grab coffee and chat? Professional. I'd like to discuss a business opportunity with you that I believe aligns with your goals and interests. Would you be available for a call or a meeting this week? Hey, I've been thinking about you and wanted to share something that I think could be a great fit for you. Are you interested in hearing about an opportunity that could change your life? Straightforward. Want to hear about an opportunity that could benefit you financially, professionally, and personally? Let's schedule a time to chat. All you have to do is go in and edit that. Once it types it out for you, you can go in and put in the word pain. I put in, I need more sleep. Sleep? What's that? Just kidding. I desperately need some. Anyone have a spare pillow and blanket? When you post that on your social media, people can be like, oh, I feel you. Honest and relatable. I'm running on fumes over here. A few more hours of sleep would be amazing right about now. Anyone else feel the exhaustion? I'm so tired. Just need a good night's sleep to recharge. Sleep is not just a necessity. It's a superpower. Recharge those batteries and wake up ready to take on the world. And what do you know? You got a picture with a REM patch on your wrist. Warning, sleep-deprived zombie alert. If you see me stumbling around, just know I'm running on coffee fumes and dreams of my bed. Y'all, I didn't type this. This is not my doing. Here's another one I put in about depression. Because I'm thinking, what are our patches? What do they deal with? Okay? I'm here for you and I care about your well-being. Depression can be tough to navigate, but you don't have to go through it alone. Let's talk and find ways to cope together. There's a lot of empathizing and support in that. Are y'all finding the Chat GPT? Did you find it? You have to. I had to jump through all kinds of hoops to find this thing. So don't tell me to explain to you how to do it because I don't know. Crystal, if you know how to get to
it's not called Chat GPT on Messenger. So it's just AI, Meta AI.
You can go to your app thing and get the Chat GPT app. That's what I use. I have an app.
Yeah, and then there's an app for it. I knew there was an app for it. Thank you, Mary.
And the nice thing about what Carrie's saying is, I use this all the time, you guys. I love Meta AI. I live and breathe it. Okay. So I'll put in a post that I see. Like, I'll be like, oh, I really like that. I'll copy and paste it. I'll put it into the Meta AI and I'll say, rewrite this, make it sound more personal. Rewrite this and take this out. Rewrite this. And you can give it direct things. And it's usually going to give you 1 or 2 options. Then you can say, take number 1 and add faith into it. Take number 1 and add, make it more laid back, make it more professional, make it this, make it speak to an audience with kids. It's so good, Carrie. So good.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I literally just put in the word happiness. Here are some messages about happiness. You do not, bad habits. Here are some messages about bad habits. You do not have to think. about anything. You don't even have to ask it the question. It's like a wife. It just knows the answer.
Isn't this
You
really
think-
laid back one?
you think-
Sorry, Carrie.
Do you think Steve was listening when I said that? He didn't hear it. He didn't
He's
hear
working. He's working.
it. Y'all heard it though, right? Y'all heard what I said? Meta AI, it's like a wife. It just knows the answer. You don't even have to ask the question. He still didn't hear it the second time. That's cute. Listen, so invite, contact bingo. You have contacts everywhere. You sit on them, you look at them, you're staring at them. They're truly in your hands. You have the message to send. Do it scared. And let us take over from there. Seriously. So you're going to write down this because we don't have time left. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to write down this list. Are you ready? We're going to do a bingo list. And I'm going to tell you where to get these contacts from. A17. Just write it down just so you can put them in the chat. C21. D4. Anybody going to ask why I skipped B? Because I have no idea why I skipped B. It just happened. Let's throw it in. B9. E3. F5. G18. H1. And then are you ready? This one? This one's going to be a customer, okay? One of your customers. Carrie, I don't have any customers. So the next one is going to be someone that's commented on your social media, okay? Comment on post. Oh, wait, but Carrie, I don't have anybody commenting on my post. Well, darn. You're going to have to look deep because I promise you've got something. Maybe somebody that you've demoed. Okay. All of these. And I know Crystal and I kind of go back and forth sometimes because she's going to work her list and that's okay. She's going to take her list and go A, B. That's okay. She wants to do it that way. That's fine. But I'm telling you this way because I've seen how you didn't plan it, and Crystal will go and do this too. She'll do this and she'll do A through Z. But if you plan this, right, this is something else coming in, interrupting, saying, right now, I'm going to go to my phone contacts and I'm looking up A17. I'm just going to go do it really quick. Walk through this with me. Countdown 17. I have no idea who this is. I have to get better at taking notes. Okay. So I did this in my phone contacts. I'm going to screenshot, and these are all going to be in my phone, in my photos, so that I know to go back and see who it is. Okay. And that will be my list. Then I take that and I go put it in this little handy dandy notebook, right? You need a notebook to write these names down. And Crystal downloaded hers, which is easy to do. I mean, I say it's easy to do. I didn't do it because I couldn't figure it out. But downloading and putting them in like an Excel sheet for people, Excel sheet, I can even say Excel is easy for some people to do. But I like to handwrite it or print some sheets and do what you want to do. Well, it's in a different notebook. I'm not pulling that notebook out. You can see how much I write. Like I got the notebooks going on too. Write that name down, give enough space to go text them on this day, conversation here, enough notes that you remember, and then, follow it up and do this how you want to do it. Okay. And if you come across somebody and you're like, like not happening, delete them, please. Unless they're like a family member and you're going to need to find out where the funeral is one day. I don't know. Seriously, do not take this serious. Okay, don't get down about it. Well, dang it, that's my daughter-in-law who I haven't talked to in 5 years. Okay, then go to the next one. Go down or go up. Here's the other thing. Go in your Facebook friends, all right? So you can do it in your phone contacts, but go in your Facebook friends. I'm clicking on my profile page. Let's see. Let me go give my friends a look. Let me find it. It's in like the menu spot. Clicking on friends. In the search bar, I'm going to put A. Well, that didn't work the way I wanted it to. But there are a couple people that I can invite. This one, I know she's in Cabo because she posted a video that looked very much like the pool that we were all in. Yeah. And there were whales out there, y'all. And so I messaged her and I'm like, "Are you in Cabo?" She's like, "Yeah." So that opened up a conversation. So that's just a name that popped up. Friend requests, friends' birthdays, your friends. Here we are. There we are. I found out my friends. Search your friends. Just search all the letter A's. Oh, figured it out. See how you just click buttons? You don't break any of it. Just go find them. And then go count down 17. Oh, well, that's Mark. Well, for some reason it says Mark A. Jackson. They're not all letter A. Facebook's not going to do it exactly how you want. Okay. If there's an A in their name, it's going to be on here. So, just have fun with it. The last thing that we want y'all to do is stress, but you absolutely have to take action or nothing will happen. If you get off of here and in your next 10 minutes by yourself or whenever you're going to decide to set that timer and go, okay, this is when I'm going to do the hard thing. If you don't do it, you're not ever going to do it. I'm glad that you get on here and I love seeing your faces. And this is one of my favorite times of the week because we get to interact and talk with each other. I love that, Rachel. Satan, take action now. You must have been a teacher because there's all kinds of things that pop in my head, and Crystal and I would talk about this all the time. I think you need to be somebody that's up here leading a Tuesday morning. What do you say, Crystal? We're gonna get in her business, find out what she's happy about over there on her side of the world. Y'all take action. I've got a 3-hour car drive today, and I'm going to be doing 3-way calls. I'm going to be messaging people, but do the 10. Do your 10, but don't wait till today to do the 10. Do the 10 and then start tomorrow doing 10 for another time. And then Steve records these dang things. He doesn't have to. And Steve, you know what? You don't even have to record tonight because the one you did the last time you recorded is good enough for me. And in fact, you got like a 23-minute one somewhere. I'm not sending anything other than that one. So forget the recording, like save your time, do something else. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Like we got this. We got this figured out. Crystal, you want to throw us around a minute?
All of our goal here is to make things simplified for you. And we try to break down as many little things as we can that we find works, so I know you guys are super excited about the Meta AI or the Chat GPT. Use it, figure it out, play along with it. Okay. But be creative too. Let it also reflect you. Okay. And then, I see some comments. I think we're going to say a couple minutes to let you guys ask your questions because we want to give you time, but we also kind of cram as much as we can into these. So these end up being like 2 hours, but this was so good. Like, do you guys feel like involved in, that takes time out of what we write. And so it's really important to us that we get your questions answered. Now, I have some intentional actions that I want to encourage you to do for the last few days here, especially in the month, but moving forward. Okay. Because like Carrie said, you can't wait till the last minute. You just can't. Okay. So the first one, and I'm going to go through these 5 with you, and then we're going to take questions. And if you have to jump off, jump off. Okay. So the first one is to set specific invitations. Make a list of 5 people you consider your dream team. These are people you want on your team. Write out a personalized message for each person, start up a conversation, okay? And then invite your leader to help you. Have you noticed I said invite your leader to help you over and over and over again today? Invite your leader to help you because it really is an invitation. Okay, there's a lot of time and management that goes in, and I hate to use the word management, but the reality is as a leader, we're working our teams. Carrie mentioned she's got 19 deep. I'm 15 deep. You can only imagine. But if you don't invite your leader onto the calls, into the conversations, we can't help you. And then sometimes it gets to the point where you're like so overwhelmed and you've already crammed as much information as you possibly can to that person, and now they're overwhelmed. Our goal is to simplify every process, every part of the system. Sorry, every part of the process. Okay, second one is daily check-ins. And that one is to choose 3 team members. you haven't connected with in a while. If you don't have any, reach out to your leader. Plug in. You need to be accountable to someone. Okay. So choose 3 team members. This is also called taprooting. There's an intentional part of why we want you to do this because you're leaders. I can taproot all the way down 15 levels. But why would I do that when I'm cutting out 15 people that could be helping with that person, right? There's a lot of support, and what meshes for me doesn't necessarily mean it's going to mesh for everyone else. Make note of, so reach out to those people. Reach out to 3 team members you haven't connected with in a while if you've got them. And if you only have 3, reach out to them every single day. That is your priority. Your team is your priority. And if you only have 1, you still make money on that person. Reach out to them every day. Okay. And not, hey, what are you doing for your business today? But in the way that they need to be held accountable, the way that they need to be supported. You can reach out to them, direct message or text, phone call, whatever you need. Find out what they need to be supported and then invite your leader in. Did you hear me? Again? And then invite your leader in. So you can jump on, Rachel, and you can say, well, so-and-so is struggling in this area. And I just, can you help me with guidance on how to lead this person? Or would you be willing to jump on a 3-way call or in a chat message? Would you be willing to do a Zoom? Okay. So make sure you're taking note of any obstacles that they have, anything that they're coming around, anything that they're struggling with. And I'll give you guys I'll put this, when I share the recording, I'll share these 5 things on that recording. The next one is content creation. Content creation. Create and share posts every day. Ooh, scary. On social media about your experience with the Super Patch, the business side, the community side, the relationship side, the solution side, the product side, the opportunity side, the leadership side, the Zoom side, whatever it is. Okay. Create something every single day, because your consistency matters. So in your post, briefly include like a brief story. How has it positively impacted you? What solution does it offer? So that could be patch, that could be opportunity, that could be leadership, that could be skills and knowledge. Okay. And then don't skip this part, please. We need you. Copy and paste that and put that story in Amazing Patch Stories group as well. The thing is just don't make it directed to you. Unfortunately, there's a lot of stories that get deleted because they are self-driven, and we don't do that in that group. I can't share a post from your personal page because Teresa and Dana and Jay and Mary and Terry and Rachel and Esther and Stephanie and Ginger and Kim and everybody here is sharing testimonies and inputting people into that group. And when you share a personal story from your page, instead of just copy and pasting, it directs that person back to your page. Can't do that. Okay. It has to be safe. And that's why that group is the only group doing that. I promise you. And if there are other groups, you're not in them because you won't see them, because they are tight-knit communities. It's very important, as nasty as it can be out there, we're protecting us. We're protecting our group, our tribe. And then in the comments, tag some friends who might also find it interesting so that they can join in the conversations. Okay. Next one is set a meeting goal. What does that mean? Set a meeting goal. So identify at least one person every single day in your network who might benefit from a 3-way call with your leader to learn more about what we've got here. That means scheduling, calls this week for calls next week, or today for calls 3 days from now, or today for calls 3 hours from now. And then prepare your leader for the brief agenda. Like, what are we going to do, right? Prepare a brief agenda. So are we going to talk about the overview of Super Patch products? Are we going to talk about your leader's personal success story, how their involvement could be beneficial? Are you going to explain the comp plan? Are you going to talk about further discovery? I say further discovery because, again, it's our job to close you for you. So when we get on those calls, we're having these conversations with people that maybe they just didn't open up to you. Right? Maybe they just assume, that Paula's just another business. Here she is doing another thing. And then you get someone else in the call, right? Gayleen, right? Like you get someone else in the call And then all of a sudden, now Mary's more prone to answer some questions that maybe she wouldn't have told Jeanette, right? I'm trying to include everybody. I'm trying to see everybody's faces. I'm moving my stuff. Okay. So then write down, so make sure that you know kind of what you're going to cover in that 3-way call. And if you don't know, then that's important to know as well. Number 5 is reflect and revise. Reflect and revise. So take 15 minutes every single day, usually at the end of your day, to review your day's actions. What have you done today? And write down what specific actions led to positive outcomes and what ones didn't go as planned. Okay. And then based on those reflections, set up an action plan for your next day to improve your strategies.
Remember that activity tracker that Steve shared? That would be a great thing to print out. And then, how well was your score? We already have that made for you, right? I didn't
So
make
many
it. Eric
things.
made it.
It's so great too. It's so awesome because you can score yourself. There are so many things you could be doing, but these things, these intentional actions, they add up because you have to reflect on yourself. You have to humble yourself a bit. If you say, well, I did my best today, but really, you didn't, right? Just by saying, well, I did my best today gives you that scapegoat. It gives you that permission to say, okay, I can sit back now. I reached out to one person. I did the one thing. Yeah. I put the post up. I don't got to do the follow-up.
Do you remember, Crystal, when we were in Orlando and John Maxwell was like, I could spend 6 hours with you and know how successful that you're going to be for the rest of your life? Oh, it
impacted me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That impact on that. I thought about that. I shared that with my family. I came back and said, honey, listen to this. And I really made me reflect on what I'm doing because I have a lot of excuses. I have a lot of viable excuses. I'm tired all the time, you guys. My body hurts. Carrie got to experience a little bit more vulnerable sides of me, my tics, my stress, my quirkiness, my weakness, my spurts of energy, all the things, because we spent, 4 days together. I have every excuse in the world. I know all of you have viable excuses, but you can't let that get in your way. Okay. So this is why it's important to do that daily check-in with yourself. Did I let myself slide too much today? And then to remember that every day doesn't have to be 100%. Some days it's 80. Some days it's 20. Some days you only have 1 spoon, and that's enough to get out of bed. Get it? Get the spoons. Some days you have 100. Some days you get more spoons because you jump on a Zoom and everybody here sharing value and adding to each other. We leave with more spoons than we came with. Don't waste your talent. Don't waste what God has given you. And what he's given you is an opportunity to share your story. And I know it's scary, Dana. I know it's scary to share your story because what if I get too vulnerable? What if someone makes fun of me? What if someone doesn't believe me? Do you know, you guys, and I'm going to stop talking in 2 seconds. And I know that we've kept you for 2 hours, but I appreciate all of you for being here and for plugging in because it speaks volumes on what you're doing here. But I put up a post the other day. I made it while I was relaxing in Carrie's guest bedroom. And I decided that I'm going to share a more vulnerable side of my journey, of my MS journey, of my tics, of my POTS journey, of just all the things I've struggled with over the years. I'm going to start sharing that vulnerable side because I know that people can't just relate to the perfect Crystal. They can't relate to the business side, right? Like I show up and then guess what, Dana? It's not duplicatable. Okay. So what I've said to you, it's because I just learned it. God already showed it to me. So I was able to show you. And that's what I love about leadership is that we get to take our lessons that we've learned because like Carrie, you sent me a reel. Sometimes we send each other like motivational, like not sometimes we do it every day because we got to hype each other up. We're accountability partners, right? And it talked about wasting your gift because your gift is not for you. It's for other people. Your story, your experience here, while vulnerable and it feels exclusive and intimate to you, is not for you. It's for other people. And if you think that everyone is going to share negativity, sometimes you got to brush it off. I shared a video and it was a compilation of the last 5 years of my life. Lots of pictures of me getting treatment, my wheelchair days, my walker days, on stage, smiling, crying, losing my hair, being so stressed out, looking at a picture and remembering that emotion in that moment of how bad I just wanted to give up. And I shared that. My own mother came on that post, who I've disconnected, set boundaries with, and she's commented, fake. I just want to pause for effect here because I want you to understand. And I think many of you could be like, I would feel awful if my best friend said that to me, or my mother, my own mother. Fake. And I thought for a moment, I said, oh, Lord, you just let her open a door and I'm going to come at her. And then I realized that's what narcissists do. That's what abusers do. She wants me to respond and react. But the growth side of me doesn't do that because I know that my story, the things that I've struggled with, nearly dying, the things that I've gone through are not for me. It's just for the people I've helped along the way. And I have doctors, you know, what God reminded me of is, you remember that time you got this diagnosis and you have this, and remember when all these different things that come into play, they don't just give this medicine to someone that's not dying. They don't just do these things. You know, all the stories you've gone through, and she's mad because she doesn't have control. But if I can post my story, knowing that my own mother, my flesh and blood, the person God entrusted to bring me into this world, can have the audacity to comment fake, and I can still smile and show up today. Every single one of us can use that story to impact someone else.
And she used that story to impact people at the meeting on Wednesday. Crystal's up there sharing her story. You got a picture of that reel that she made. And I have it on video of my dad standing up and mentioning. And he said, how can you hear stories like yours? And he's pointing over at Crystal and not want to do this. And so regardless of her immediate family squashing that, she knows that the bigger picture of what God's asked her to do is far greater than who he entrusted her to, because she's his. That's her dad, you know, our daddy God. And y'all, it's a beautiful thing when you get past that. When you reach past that. And there was so much growth. And when she shared that with me, she's like, look what my mom said. I'm like, I don't even think we talked about it for a second, Crystal, because it wasn't going to be growth on anywhere. You already have the growth. You've already spent the time. You've already invested. You know yourself. You're grounded in scripture and in your faith and where you're headed. But I love that you shared that this morning. And I love that I got to hear your story even more raw in person in a large group of people. And my dad got to say, hey, I see you. But it took her going through all of that and getting to that point to be able to share that, right? Scared or not, Dana, we got to talk. Dana, you know what you could do? Crystal, I'm giving you a minute to figure out how we're going to stop this. Because I know I can see it. I can see us moving forward. Dana, you know what you could do? You could share the story of how you demoed someone in your front yard and you fell down. Like, why you didn't stop then? Remember how embarrassing that was? And you sent that to us and you were laughing and cutting up. And that was funny. And you know what? You could tell all those people that you demoed, like, you should have seen me the first time I did this. I stumbled down my hill. And, you know, for whatever reason, and it gives everybody, it just kind of breaks the ice a bit. When you're vulnerable in your weakness, when you admit to a mistake, hey, look, I could be wrong, but this is what it did for me. What do you have to lose? Hey, I could be wrong, but this is where it's taken me. And Crystal, look at the outpour of the love that you've shared just from being real and raw. And that's the same thing that happens on social media. You guys, someone is scrolling and they go, oh, so Crystal, you got a lot of mamas, which shoot, it's hard enough having one that wants to tell me what to do. So good luck. But that's our community here. I know a lot of you have shared about daughters that won't speak to you. You shared about grandkids you don't get to see. You guys, we're humans. Everybody go cut your finger. You're going to bleed red. It's just what happens. Someone talks bad to you, you're going to hurt. Let the world know they're not alone by sharing your story, even the dark part. Why do you think I looked up depression on ChatGPT, Crystal, Meta AI? Because I've dealt with it and I don't know how to put it in words. Yeah. Hey, let's just stop where we're at. I'm feeling that we need to stop right where we are. And I want you to go back. I'm not gonna, we've given you enough activity, enough stuff, and it's the end of the month. But I want you to go back to Matthew 25:14, when Crystal shared about what gifts have you been given? You have been given a story. You were given a demo. You were given an opportunity. Pick one of the 13 patches. Just pick one. And how are you going to use that? So circle back into that. Everything that you've learned today, all the activity that we've had you to take, the stories that you've heard, and Crystal and I will talk after about why I stopped her so abruptly, because she needs to hear this part. It doesn't matter where you've came from. It matters where you are today and where you're going. And I think everybody needs to hear that. It doesn't matter the conversations you've had before. Yesterday is absolutely gone, without a doubt. We're not getting it back, and we're not headed that direction. Today, whatever you did between February 1st and February 24th is over. Today, February 25th, draw that line in the sand and go, my story's enough. My story is enough, regardless of what anybody else has to take. And the gifts that I've been given are enough. And if I don't use them, if I don't put them into action, if I'm not intense and intentional with the people that he puts in front of me, he can take it away. She didn't get into the deep part of the last of that scripture that says some not nice things. I'm going to pull it up. Take the talent from him and give it to the one who has the 10. For everyone who has will be given more, and he will have an abundance. Whoever does not have, even what he has, will be taken from him. And throw that worthless servant outside into the darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. I do not want to get thrown out. I want to show up. I want to give back. I want to flourish, and I want to show you that value. And that's the same thing that Crystal wants to do. But your story today, your story, Mary, your story today, where you're at, where you came from, it's enough. Teresa, your story and all of your glory and dealing with that baby that you're dealing with the whole time I'm watching you, it's enough. Dana, where you are today, it's enough. Esther, you got here this morning, and I know the times are crazy for you, but it's enough for you today. Gayleen, everything you've gone through, that's back there. It's molded you into who you are today. Rachel, it's enough for today, for you to be right where you are, to move forward. Lori, you're spinning your wheels, hardly paying attention because she's inviting tens of thousands of people to this meeting that I'm going to be coming to, and she doesn't want to let me down. Guess what? You're not going to let me down. You can. It's impossible. See that? How I just spoke into her? It's enough today. Tomorrow, yeah, Lori, today. Do what you can today and move forward. Paula, it is enough today for you to take care of yourself. You've had one thing after the next. Thrown. It's okay. What you're doing today is enough. Jeanette, you had a pain patch on your forehead earlier. I pray to God that that thing is over for you, that your headache is gone. And what you're doing today is enough to carry you into tomorrow. Mary, I can't see you right now, Mary Martin, but I know that you're there. Whatever you're doing today is enough. Stephanie, I don't care if you've been around the block longer than me. It doesn't matter. Today, what you're doing is enough to carry into tomorrow. Miss J, same thing for you. I can't see you, but I know you're there listening. You're probably letting your cats in or out. I'm not real sure, but it's enough what you're doing today to share for tomorrow. Ginger, if you're bold, be bold. And if maybe you don't like the bold statement, maybe think about how you're receiving information. Because if you're a bold person and you like to be straightforward, maybe ask yourself, why am I not like, if that's what you like to get, why don't I like to give it? Spend some time with that, but today work on that and move forward. Debbie Cromwell, I can't keep up with you over there. You've been in 2 different locations since you've sat on this Zoom. I noticed your background change. You're probably in some other teacher's classroom. And you know what? What you're doing today is enough. And I know you have goals. And it's enough that you popped in and you did this and you listened, because this is your future. And you are running into that direction right now, and you're plugging in where you can. Laura, you have been so patient in waiting to talk about samples, and we're going to let you do that. But what you have to offer today is enough. You don't get to go back to years of doing anything else that you did. It's today that you're enough. Crystal? I don't care what mama says. There's no fake news with you. You're enough. What you're doing with your kids is enough. What you're doing in this business is enough. And I think we don't hear that. We might read something that like ruffles us a little bit, makes us feel a little fluff, but you know what? It's enough what you've been given today. Do today and don't anticipate tomorrow. None of us are promised tomorrow, right? So Laura, ask your question if it's about samples. I'm assuming it is, maybe not.
Yeah, it is. I've been asked about samples by
Yeah.
2 people yesterday, and I remembered what you said last night about not wasting their time with samples because they'll need 2 weeks. The study showed that it was 2 weeks or
Yep, 14 days.
14 days. So my question is, these are brand new people, how do I address this, please?
They're just asking you for samples, right? Can I get a
They
sample?
want that. The one is actually my mom's home health nurse from almost 10 years ago. I've known her 10 years. We befriended each other.
I would literally
and-
just I would hold to it, Laura, with anybody. I would hold to it that you can go get your samples from the website. That I value my stuff too much, you guys. I wouldn't have money to come and travel and do small meetings or things with you if I mailed samples every time someone asked. I had someone actually, Laura, ask me twice twice in the same messaging. Is there a way I could get a couple of those focus patches to try on my 9-year-old? Best way is to order them. I think I sent you my link because we had a prior conversation. I don't keep extra on hand, plus 100% money back guarantee. Go to this link and order. It's too easy and simple to order. We'll get to you in 3 to 5 business days. And we've already had a prior conversation, just a bit. We had a little bit of one in person. He was trying to stop dipping. And then I also let him know that, wait, that was the second time he asked. He's like, what do you have to help kids stay focused? And we had a conversation. And I just can't. I can't. I said, our studies are 14 days. I'd be doing a disservice if you just tried 1 or 2. You need to give it the full 28 days. It's $60 for 28, but you won't pay that on your first order. And then I was like, get some Kick It for your dipping habit. He's like, I already quit dipping. I'm like, cool. So you're already saving money from what you've been doing. You know that you can afford this. Okay. Don't think in your head they can't afford it and they need it. They need it. Just stay persistent with it.
Okay. Yeah, and I know there's another gal on. She's part of Super Patch also. She's not in our group. She sells hers for $3 each.
Oh yeah, or sell your sample if you want.
But-
What was it? Rev did that one time and I went and used his 2 for 10. Was it 2 for 10? Yeah, 2 patches for 10. And I went and sold it to the ladies that do my nails. Yeah, it worked. Value it. When you get that stuff, do what you want with it. But I'm not gonna do it for free. I can't, because they're
No,
gonna
I
get it
can't
in the
either.
mail. It's gonna get. How many of y'all get coupons in the mail and you chunk them? Or you get like a little perfume sample and you chunk it, or it just sits there and you're like, shoot, that's expired. Like this stuff just gets thrown out. Like value it more than that, than to just mail it. And I know some people do send them. And Crystal and I've had this conversation until we're blue in the face, and I've told her stop. Can I be honest with everybody, Crystal? I've told her stop doing it because I see the struggle. I see what she's doing. I see that she needs the patches for herself. We spend $400-$500 for our families. And so I just can't. I cannot, Laura, I can't do it. And I don't care who tells me I can't. And if they pay, this is my big thing. Those who pay attention. Y'all remember that word. I picked that up somewhere a few years ago. Those who pay attention. I think Dean Grazzi.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell her that she's going to have to pay for them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of these women.
If you have to ship it, they got to pay for the shipping too. And in the meantime, be like, look, you're going to buy these. You'll be better off going and getting a full pack. You're going to need 14 days of this. Like I didn't like when we had the 4-packs. The company had the 4-pack out, and that's how Freedom ended up in the welcome kit. It had Liberty and Freedom, the 4-pack, because we just came out with Freedom when that kit had just came out. And I kept asking, can I have a toggle button to turn off the sample packs? Because so many people were telling me after 4 that it didn't work. Yeah. So if you're going to sample them, then Laura, I suppose 14 of them for $30, 14 of them for $40.
And by then they're better off getting off the website.
And by then, when they get
Yeah.
28 at 45 the first time.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's what I'm going to tell her. Buying samples for me is not going to be beneficial for her monetary wise.
Yeah.
She
Yeah.
needs to go to my website and purchase with the 30-day money back guarantee.
Yeah.
Both
Yeah.
of them, because I'm not like that other company. I'm not doing free samples. You know what I'm talking about, Carrie.
Yeah. I'm not doing it.
Okay. No, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I just wanted some clarification.
You know, we also have somebody on this Zoom that doesn't show his face. You know, Paul has struggled with, and Paul, I see you and I hear you and I know what you're doing and I know how you got here and I know that every 2 minutes your life is interrupted by the machine and all the stuff you're fighting for your life. He can't verbally tell people about this, y'all. He literally cannot. And you don't have an excuse. You truly don't have an excuse. So, Paul, we see you. We know why you don't show yourself. You're always connected to machines and doing things. But you don't have an excuse to not make this work if you're able to show up. He never misses a Zoom. And when we don't have these, he's messaging me asking, where is it at?
True. Lori.
I just wanted to add that I can speak from experience about the giving, because I'm not making money because I have given away so much more than I've had people pay for. So take the advice of don't shortchange what this is worth. And I'd like to thank you for the bingo thing and apologize for being so wrapped up over here trying to get all these messages out. But in doing that, because I haven't been working through my phone, I've only been working through my social media so far because I had 731 messages to send. So now I'm seeing people in my phone that I'm like, oh, how did I not think of them? So I think I need to shift my gears a little bit here today. And I do apologize for not being as attentive as I should have been, but I'm here.
You were great. You were working your business. This is a working Zoom, and you can listen in as long as you're not distracted by TV. I think that we're all in agreement that you're sending messages and you're working your business, Lori. And it's amazing to see that you do that. Stephanie.
I just wanted to say, when you were talking about the patches, I was giving them away at some shows that I do myself. And and I kept thinking to myself, two is not enough, but I can't afford to give away 4 for sure. But I had patches of 4 that I would sell for $15. Because there's one thing about it, there's nothing like having money in the game. You know, if you don't have any money in the game, I've had people tell me, oh, I haven't tried the patch yet. You know, so I feel like saying, why don't you send it back to me, you know? But, you know, if they're not going to use them, it just, you need money in the game. There's no question about it. And then you'll be more honest about it and hopefully consistent. And consistency with those patches has been an issue once in a while. You know, well, I know I haven't been consistent with them. Well, that's not going to help your pocketbook or your health. So that's just the way I'm looking at it at the moment.
Good outlook.
So,
It's good outlook. And Stephanie,
yeah.
there's nothing worse than sending, because I've done it. And Carrie and I really had to have this talk because I'm like, if I bless them, God will repay it. If I give them a few samples, God will repay it. And there are times where I just feel spirit led to send a packet full. And guess what? Most of the time I end up getting burned. And there's nothing worse than saying, okay, I sent you 10 samples. You cautiously think like, what do they really need? How can I help them? I really want them to try this one. And then they say, well, oh, I haven't used it yet. Oh, I lost the package. Oh, it didn't work for me. Didn't I ask you to give me a call when you got them? Oh, yeah, I forgot. So we just put it on. Oh, now I can't walk you through the demo. Now you really can't see that it's working right for you. So yeah, I agree. I usually go $5. So I don't sell them in any less. So I'll be like, I sell 4-pack for 20. Do the math, right?
Okay. Oh,
Because by the time they get up to the 60, they've only bought 12 patches. And I can say, well, hey, now you don't even have 2 weeks worth. Let's get you on the website and you'll get a discount for $15. Now you'll spend less and get more. So there's a way.
And don't get wiggled into doing it in person either, because I've been there. And then don't hear us say either that, you don't get back what you pour in. I've spent over $18,000 building what I have. I have more than that. I have the receipts to prove it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm watching this business and I am going to do what I can. And I have made that back. And I am going to continue to pour. But the more I'm here, Stephanie, the more I value it.
Right.
It is like a precious commodity. And you think about ladies as having a purse, right? If you all went and got your purses and you're at an event and someone's like, oh, I need a Tylenol. Who's got a Tylenol? How much is that?
Right.
I don't know how much a little pill is. And that's not a moment where I'm like, oh, I have this for you, but it's going to be $4. I don't say that. And so know when, and go with your gut, and don't let people run over you for it.
Right.
Crystal,
Love
we're going to have to take one more question.
I was just going to say that we're on par. I got Bible study to get to. So Mary, go ahead and ask your question. And then, sorry, Stephanie, did I cut you off?
Just one thing I was going to say. I think a better thing is when you offer a free pack with people who either come to a Zoom or give them something, the value for doing what you're asking. And
yeah,
I
like
think
I'll give you a free sample.
do it.
Yep. I get that because the incentive, because like Carrie brings up paying $40, right? Like you'll get $40 for sitting in. That's if they sign up, right? So I agree, Stephanie. Sometimes I'll do the samples because $40 adds up if they all join, and so definitely. But that gives them skin. They've invested time at that point. So yeah, I agree.
That's right. Yeah.
Great, Mary.
Okay. Thank you.
Hi, and we might want to talk about this at a future meeting, but one of the things that I've been coached to do is to always recommend the Liberty patch as a foundational patch. So if they order Peace, to recommend that they make sure that they get the Liberty too. So I think that would be a helpful topic to hear you, Crystal and Carrie, your thoughts on how to integrate the Liberty patch as a foundational patch in whatever we recommend.
Yes, this is something that we talk about very often, and it's throughout different things. It's not a complete topic for a Zoom, but Mary, you're right. That's where we get started. And so we say that in Amazing Patch Stories. We say that when we demo, because you've got a demo with Liberty or Victory. The other ones don't work for the demo. And so you've got to do that and you got to get started. So thank you for bringing that up and reminder too. And it's fine to say that when people want to look at everything, it's like, look, you could just grab this one patch, but this makes it work better because Liberty puts your body where it connects all the dots. Yeah.
I ran into a little challenge recently where somebody wanted Freedom and the Freedom patch and another patch, but they didn't want the Liberty. And I explained that I'd recommend you go with Liberty and this one and wait on the other. That's how beneficial Liberty will be for you. So I really had to be confident and push it. And she eventually agreed. But no, I appreciate all the training that you guys are helping us with.
Mary Ryan put in the chat, this is the best. You put your underwear on first and put on whatever else you want for the day. So Liberty could also be like our underwear, not just our pizza crust. Thanks, Mary. Martin, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, that's absolutely what we teach over here.
I love that. Mary, I haven't seen your face before, I don't think yet. Maybe I have. I'm sorry. Who did you come in under?
Susan McDonald.
Okay.
Yes. And
cool.
So Yes.
Awesome. Well,
Crystal,
welcome.
that's the Ohio crew. That's has worked with Dennis. That's that leg.
Yeah, I met Susan in Orlando. So very nice. Very good, great group of people. So I'm excited that you're here. So welcome and thank you for spending this time with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, we got to get going. Crystal,
We
you did
gotta.
so fantastic today. Thank you so much,
You
you
all
guys.
did.
This is recorded. Crystal is going to cut out all of the stuff that didn't need to be in here, but go win your day. Okay, whatever you did today, just be better than you were yesterday, and please take action because it's February 25th, and you'll regret it if you don't. All right.
Beautiful. Thank you guys. Thanks for the value you all added. That's what makes these like amazing. It's when we add value together. So again, remind you real quick before we jump off, if you have something you want to share, you don't have to take up a whole hour or 10. We like to do that. We'll take up 10. But you could just take up 10 minutes if you got something you want to share. Okay. And we just want to hear from you. So have an amazing day. We'll see you at 7 and then 7:30 Central tonight with guests and a story. See you later.